I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I had this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me, and he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it. I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening.
So wake up with Michele Meiche. Be pleased to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening.
Understand what living awake is.
Hey, gang. How's everyone doing? Okay, if you guys are new, I'm Michele. How are ya? Welcome to Awakenings. Awakenings with Michele Meiche. I am trying to figure out, the chat is working. They were trying to say it was my fault, but they upgraded the chat. So if you want to listen in the chat, you can. If you want to listen via phone, that's great too. 347-539-5122 is the number. 347-539-5122, and press 1 on your keypad. I was trying to put the chat in a separate window, but that messed things up. I'll have to fiddle with it later. Later. Okay, gang, remember, press 1 on your keypad if you have a question, a comment, you want to share something, or maybe you want a reading. Oh, my God, so much happening all at once. Just going to do a little bit of beginning stuff, talk a little bit about connecting the dots, and get to callers. Again, 347-539-5122. Make sure you press 1 on your keypad. Because sometimes people are waiting, and then I get the email. I waited 45 minutes. Also, if some reason you don't get your question asked, you don't get on air, then just call back next week. Because sometimes we get a lot of people in the queue, and I'm trying to take a little bit longer with people to answer their questions, so just be patient. We will get to you, okay? And I'm going to put that number, 347-539-5122, and press 1 on your keypad. That's the call-in number. And then, you can ask questions in the chat also. So I want to remind everyone, please, especially those of you that have been listening for so long to this podcast, and I get your amazing emails and DMs and comments on my IG and YouTube, it would really be helpful if you would go to Apple Podcasts and give a great 5 stars and a review, an appreciation comment. But the stars help. Again, that just helps people connect more and find us. And also on YouTube, we're migrating the archives over, past podcast episodes and current ones over on YouTube. So Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast, if you would subscribe there, that would be a great way to show support and to help out. And also subscribing to my YouTube channel, Soul Insights and Tarot with Michele Meiche. I try to put my name in everything because I know a lot of people know me from this platform or working with me personally, and it just makes it easier to find stuff. And people just say, oh, you can just Google it and then you can know. But anyway, that would really help. And then also to connect with me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram for more Soul Insight. I'm doing at least 2 posts a week, tuning in, doing mini readings, doing some mini deep dives into spiritualism, metaphysics, metaphysical principles on universal laws, esotericism, spiritualism, the occult, meditation, just all the stuff that I do. Dreams, you can ask me questions and I will do maybe I'll do that, Ask Me Anything. Yeah, like I did, if you're seeing 10-10, 10-10-10 or 11-11 or 1-11, I did a post on that on Instagram, what that means. And then I did one on if you're seeing 333 or 555. And then somebody requested for me to do on 12 or 1212, which I do have on my blog. So also what I'm doing with these posts, because there's a lot of different meaning, and you only have a minute to a minute 30. What I'm doing is also tuning into the collective, like what is the collective, like the people that are going to be connecting with me on Instagram, what do they need to hear? What do they need to see? So really, in a way, I'm tapping in the same way that I do on my pick-a-cards on YouTube with my posting now. I'm tapping into the collective that I'm connecting with, the soul group that I'm connecting with. And you guys, I'm having so much fun with this. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because we are really coming into this accelerated time shift where we're moving a lot more into timing. And I'm really been talking a lot about this on Patreon. If you want a deeper dive into metaphysics and spiritualism, the esoteric, the occult, plus you get a peek of what I do behind the scenes in my life to keep grounded and somewhat sane. Being a little crazy is good. Crazy with love, crazy with life. The best way, there's 3 tiers. But the second tier, for only $25, you get all these video content of me uploading. You get a focus for the week, focus for the month. You get esoteric information, metaphysical information to integrate in your life. You get information to help you, in your healing, your empowerment, spiritual integration and soul alignment. But then also, if you get the Soul Path Journeyer tier, and that's, I know I sound salesy right now. I don't mean to do that, but just kind of the difference between the middle tier and the higher tier is that we meet once a month with the Soul Path Journeyer. We meet once a month. We do deep dives, we do readings, people share what's working, how their life is changing and transforming, what they're manifesting, what they're creating. We do meditation, we do, if we need to do inner work or clearing work or hypnotherapy or dream therapy. It's really like the time where I go, hey guys, this is your time. And we have so much fun. It's supposed to be only an hour salon, metaphysics and spiritualism salon, but a lot of times, those of you that do my workshops know that I'm notorious for going over. Sometimes we're in there an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yay, people coming in the chat. Good to see everyone again. I miss the chat. Okay, so anyway, that's. I just want to let people know these are some of the ways that you can connect more with me. People sometimes are asking, or they sign up and they go, "Oh, I want to do the meetup, the workshops." And I really do try to keep it affordable because to me this is very affordable. I know people have financial challenges, but for me, keeping it that, it's not like it's $100 a month or you have to do this for $395. Even my workshops, I try to keep everything affordable but a good exchange as well, just because I'd rather have people have the information and integrate it. And I know there's a lot of scammies, little scammers out there, people that have just awakened, I had my awakening 5 years ago. And no, I'm putting years and years of not only schooling, training, working with other mentors and teachers, my own therapy, the life experience that I've had, the clinical training and experience into that. And it's something I love doing, and I learn a lot. The people that come in the Soul Path Patreon, Soul Path Journeyer Patreon, are just some of the most dialed-in people that I have met. It's just, I feel it's an honor to really to be able to connect with them. Anyway, gang, this is all about connecting. You're starting to get the dots, and I want to help people. How do you understand if you're creating from the ego, from the soul? How are you connecting the dots? Who are the connectors that are being sent to you? Are you a connector? Because we're moving into this phase of being more and more and more a creator being. So you're going to start seeing more dismantling and dissolving, not just externally through businesses and outer structures, but in your own life. Because it's the soul call. It's time to live a life that is much more rewarding and fulfilling. So you want to prepare. It's like I do that as a metaphysician, as a, channeling information, as a trance channel, a conscious channel. I do that as an astrologer. I look at the astrology, my personal astrology, the numerology, and I go, okay, you better prepare. Like I knew last year, I'm like, oh my God, Saturn's going to be in my 6th house, which I was glad. If it can bring health challenges or things to the bones, like Saturn in Capricorn. And I'm like, okay, so what can I do to fortify myself? How can I take better care? How can I rest more? I have all these great ideas. I need to put structure. But I was so in Neptunian phase with the Neptune transit I've been in. So for me now, I'm understanding, okay, I have to ground things now. I have to put structure in, new structures. So this is the positive way, the life-enhancing way, the life-affirming way, the proactive way to use your tools. And I mean, a lot of times even with my clients, I will say, you just have to use the tools. You're learning the tools with me. You're clearing patterns. And I know sometimes it's hard to do individually. It's easier for me to do because I teach it and I live it. But guys, that used to be a luxury. You're going to have to start living your tools, what you know. You're going to have to start going, oh, I learned this. Let me try this. Let me do this. Let me do that. Rather than waiting for outside circumstances to change. Minnie's in the house. Okay, gang, the chat is so much better. So obviously they were doing some kind of upgrade, and that's why the chat wasn't working, but it's somehow better. Okay, so let's get to callers, 347-539-5122. A lot of people listening by phone. If you happen to have a question, a comment, you want to share something, or you want a reading, please press 1 on your keypad. I know I sound like a broken record. What is it, a 78 record? Do I sound like a rerunning MP3? I guess that's the thing, a looped MP3. But I say it over and over because I get the messages that people wait online, they step away from the phone, and they don't hear me say, you're on air. Hello.
Hello, Michelle. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Who is this?
Hi, my name is Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Yes.
Okay.
I just had a question about on the track of career and that kind of affects finances. I just feel like I've been experiencing a lot of setbacks on the career end, which has kind of brought my finances to
it shows that
a very uncomfortable point. Yeah, and I know that's affecting everyone.
Well, no, it shows that particularly in you. Let's see why. Why is Christine setbacks or what's? Usually it's a redirection. Oh, that's right. I thought so. Redirection of energy. Okay, I'm going to play with my Astro dice right now. So I'm throwing the dice, and I got Uranus and Aries in the first house. So there's something you need to do to free yourself up or get another mindset. See, a lot of times most of the times our outer change happens because we have an inner change, right? Consciousness changes. So sometimes we want something to change or happen, but we haven't quite changed the consciousness yet. And I know that sounds, kind of woo-woo, but I do feel as we get more and more into this new paradigm, people are really going to see how that works. Here's an example. You're looking for a car, and you have an idea of what car you want. Now you start seeing that car everywhere because it's in your consciousness. So what I tell people, like when you want change, start doing different things. Move your furniture around, clear some stuff, but literally drive home differently, take a different route home differently from work or whatever you're doing. Go to a different store. If you always go to the same market, go to a different one. So that releases or loosens what we call these Akka points that we get, like a groove. When you play something over and over, or like our shoes on our feet or the tire tread on a car, they're like, oh, well, you drive this way, so this is why the tire tread is wearing this way. You're up in the mountains, so, right? The same with our shoe. Oh, you walk this way. So we really, if you want to make change, you have to start changing the pattern, the groove that you've got going from walking in the same steps. And that's what it's showing. here in your reading.
Interesting. I feel
so
like
you're kind of stuck. Well, you feel like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I've been trying to do that in a lot of different ways. Like even the last job that I had, I took because it was something very different than what I would normally take. But I felt at the time that me doing things differently would lead me a different result, and then I ended up getting laid off of that job due to the recession.
See, that's the outer.
And then, okay.
So consciousness too. So it's not that you're not doing. Okay, this is what's interesting because patterning takes a while. It's repetition, and that's actually one of the things for manifesting is thinking about it over and over, visualizing it over and over. So it doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing or you haven't been doing the right thing, but you need to do more of it or longer.
Okay.
So sometimes we think, okay, if I think this way differently, or I take this new job, but something hasn't, because it's showing it has to do something with you personally. Let's see, what else can help Christine to shift this energy and draw it in a better career, a better job? You're getting Uranus. What's going on with you personally?
What's going on with you personally?
Yeah, is there anything with relationship or people? What pattern?
I just got engaged yesterday, so that's really awesome.
Okay.
I don't know. I still feel very social. I think with the way my finances have been, it's been making me want to retreat a little bit more. But I'm still trying to get out there.
Well, you don't have to be you don't have to get out there. It's just walk. You've gone back to. It's something about freeing yourself up. Do you go overgive to other people?
Yes, and I've been trying, and I think that's what I've been frustrated with. Like I feel like I'm always doing that, and I feel like I don't get like.
Okay, so that's what it is, Christine.
Yeah.
Because it's something.
Yeah.
See. So it doesn't matter. It's like if you put on, it's funny because years ago when I was modeling, I remember I worked with this photographer that he worked with a lot of celebrities, and they always had to have the best clothes in, Chanel, this and that. And he'd worked with this old-time actress, some people may know, Sophia Loren, and he said, because there was a bunch of clothes in there from some store, I think it was Neiman Marcus. And the stylist had come in and bought thousands and thousands, of dollars of clothing. And because her thing was, she's like, and I'm like, oh, why is all this? He goes, I just shot her and da-da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, she was, because she has to wear the clothing to feel. And I thought to myself, well, that's right? I was like, snap. I was like, well, what the hell is that about? It's a consciousness. I was thinking that to myself. I didn't tell him anything, but that's what we have to remember, because sometimes we do the outer, but there's something that we're doing that, to put it in like a everyday colloquialism, sabotage. So if I have to watch sometimes giving a lot, over giving or over helping, or I see people really need something, and I've had to learn, like, okay, I have to shift that, like, unless it's not tit for tat, but unless there's more even exchange of that help, you need to pull your energy back for yourself. So where you want to go and what you want to do, you need to do that. Because that's why you're attracting what you're attracting, is because your mindset, and you're aware of it. You're like, okay, I'm
definitely aware of it. That was like a major lesson. I just finished my Saturn return. And that was a major.
That'll teach it to you. Yes.
Yeah, my Saturn is in Aquarius, and I am an Aquarius. So, and that was a major, like, that kept coming up over the last couple of years. For sure.
Do you know what house? What house is your Saturn or your Sun?
I can tell you in 1 second, actually.
Okay, find that out, because that's going to show where the greatest change is, and we're going to have Pluto going into Aquarius.
Mm-hmm. My Saturn's in Aquarius in the second house.
Oh, that's money, resources. Second house, and that's what I had rolled with the dice. Was what was it? Uranus. It was I rolled Uranus and Aries, second house. So freeing up financially, but also the second house has to do with seeing ourselves as a resource, as valuable, our worth, our self-worth also. Second and fifth house has to do with self-worth. So as you're seeing yourself more worthy of your time, your energy, your focus, you take just a little bit of energy from overdoing for other people, that's going to open up that abundance portal for you, because it really is a portal that we have, but we sometimes close. It's like a hatch. We're like in a submarine, and we a lot of times we close the hatch, or it's half open. So so look for, and then the second house, there may be other things that you want to do financially to free up. So you may be looking at a different type of business.
That's what I mean, and I think that's what's also tripping me up, because there's so many different things that I want to do that I get overwhelmed on what to focus on first, or I try and do things at the same time, and
So you really need what I was talking about, what I've been posting. Yeah, what you really need, and everybody heads up, because I get like this too, but because I have a lot of things, especially I get a lot of ideas and messages from the spiritual hierarchy and the guides, so I want to do that. I want to do it quickly. Let's do this ebook, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, oh my God, it takes time, and then you got to coordinate with people, and that takes more time. And so, first of all, write down all the things that you want to do, all the ideas, and why, where you see it going. And then what you need to start doing is you put that to the side, and you go out. It has to be something unstructured. You could be jogging, you could be walking, you could be taking a drive, and kind of think of the list, and whatever comes up in your mind, that's what has the most juice. Or if somebody brings something up for you, let's say you're thinking of opening a flower shop or something, and then you kind of think of that, and then let's say a week or two later you bump into somebody, and they're like, I've been trying to find cool flowers, it's so hard to find them, and you're like, okay, there's a sign. See, so we have to, we can open up to get the signs, to get the confirmations, but that's going to happen in that flow state, in that zone when we're not thinking. So that's what I would suggest, because I think there's something new coming in for you that's going to free you up more, and is going to be perhaps more exciting, more fun. And so that's why these other things aren't working out. See, we're moving more and more into a phase where the constructed ego is not going to be able to manifest, is not going to be able to create. Now, that's not everybody in the world, but a lot. If you're listening to this show, you're getting more and more soul aligned, attuned to your heart. That's just what it is. You're in the soul alignment. So the soul is starting to become more potent and take over that animating energy of the ego. So even though it's responding from less of how we think or think would work to what really is forming for us and we're stepping into. So it's a much different way of living. Yeah, and then really quick, where's your son?
Aquarius.
Yeah, but do you know what house?
Oh, the second house.
Oh, the second. Where was your Saturn? Oh, they're both in the Saturn.
They're
and
both
Sun
in the second house.
Oh, so that's
and
a double.
Mercury is in Aquarius in the second house. A lot of second house.
Oh, you have a stellium. You have a stellium in Aquarius. Okay, so for you, this is pivotal, because it's also that Uranus is in Taurus for, I think, next 20 years or so, right? And then we've got Pluto going into Aquarius so that's going to be squaring. And then the North Node right now it's just bringing awareness. It's a square. Squares bring, it's itchy. Well, oppositions bring awareness, but squares bring the awareness that I have to do something, and you have to do some kind of action. So that's kind of in a simple way what's happening. But that second house and eighth house is going to be very highlighted for you. So I would really read up on that and open up to help or support from other people. Maybe it's getting a loan or GoFundMe or other resource that can support you with what you want to do, or a big idea that you have coming in. but you're going to be working a lot with your self-worth, confidence, and finance, money, resources, for a while. But it could be fun. It could be in a good way. You're in a position where you can actually generate more income for you and even multiple sources of income if you get out of your lower level thinking mind and get into the higher mind, the divine mind. And the way to do that is what I suggested to you. Okay. Christine, call back. Do this for. Yeah, you get it. You feel it, right?
Yeah.
So do a bit of this and definitely keep us posted. Call back. Let me know how you're doing, and we'll see what next tune in has for you.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much. This has put a lot in perspective for me, as always. You always do.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Christine. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
You too. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. This is Zara.
Zara?
Yeah.
Hi, Zara.
Yes.
Hi.
I've spoken to you before regarding my condo that I'm trying to sell. So recently, last week, I had this family come in and they came in 3 times and on different occasions, and they seem to like it. I'm wondering if you see it going through. Will they make an offer or?
Okay, get the family. Is it a younger family?
It is, and I think she said her parents would be helping.
Family. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're looking at 2. Is your place kind of high up?
Yeah, it's on a high floor.
Okay. Yeah, it's high. Okay. Not getting a solid yet. I definitely get it's a family, which I think I've told you that before, and I definitely feel that this one is looking at 2 places. So what do they think? What is this particular family? What's the first name or the name of the couple?
Erica. I think her. Do you need the husband too, or?
Oh, let me just connect in if you connected more to her energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not the only ones making the decision. There's somebody else that's helping them. So whether that's the parents or the mom.
Yeah,
okay, that's the thing. Because they're looking at the idea of resale, the price. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why the woman's energy was stronger for you and then for me. I feel like it could be. I feel like they want. Did they have you come down? Because I feel like they want a price reduction.
They didn't even ask. They didn't even make an offer. So we're not even negotiating. How do we know what
okay. Well, maybe that's it. The mother's saying that's too much, or I don't want to spend that much, or you should try to find something different. It's going to go, I feel, I don't know. I keep feeling between now and, I don't know, May or so. It's definitely going to go, but I definitely feel that there may be a price reduction.
We already made one. Yeah, so I was hoping to at least make an offer. We just did lower the price a few weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
So,
okay.
Yeah, and
they may come back with an offer. I feel it's going to be lower, and it does show that there's a lot to do with the other person, the mother. So I don't know if she saw it or if she has to come back and look at it. And I guess because they haven't put the offer in, the energy isn't as strong. That doesn't mean they're not going to, but it just feels kind of, I don't know, in, out. It doesn't feel real strong. Definitely that shows they're talking about it, and they're talking about it to this one particular person, which you said was the mother. Let's see, how does the mother feel about it? Oh, well, she kind of... Did the mother not see it? Was that you or that me? You guys hear me in the chat? I don't hear Zara anymore. Let's see. Do you
Can
hear
me? Can you hear me?
Okay, now I do.
Can you hear me?
Now I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. I accidentally pressed mute.
Okay.
On,
okay. I'm like, okay. We never know.
My ear was leaning on the mute button by accident. No, the mom did see it. The mom loved it. Then the daughter came in as well. She loved it. Then the last time the husband came as well, and they all love it. I mean, so we were waiting for an offer, and so far it hasn't come. But
well, maybe
at least
it's
put
the
in an
finance.
offer.
I would just take a couple breaths and do something else, because I definitely see them talking about it. I'm not. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be them that buys it. I'm just at this moment, I'm seeing it more as talking back and forth. I see there's another place that isn't as high up, whatever that means. It may be more ground floor.
I think they're probably it's a lower floor. Then they won't get
a lower floor. Yeah. Is there another place that they're looking at in your building or something?
I'm sure,
that's open?
Not in our building. Probably somewhere else.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So that's the thing. I do have nice views, so a lot of people want to be on a higher floor for that. Yeah. So they seem to love it, Michele, and I was just like, okay, at least make an offer, negotiate.
I get it, right? I know, right? You're like, you say you love it. Yeah, it's just the thing is I see them all talking, so there might be different points and people want different things. So I would just give it some time, think about it, see the offer coming, and then just let it go and open the space for other people. Because I do see an offer, and I feel it's going to be a young family. It's just I can't for sure say them. I'm not getting a strong read that, yes, it's them. I get some wiggling back and forth, And it may be, do they want to be up high with do I want to be up high with views, or do I want to be lower with a garden? Whatever. That's what I feel is kind of the thing. All right, Zara, keep us posted, okay? Big hug.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michele. This is Owen.
Hey, Owen. Hi.
Hi. It's been a little while.
I know, right?
Yeah, I still listen every week, though.
Okay, cool.
So I have just a kind of a different kind of question than I usually ask. I was sorting through all of my journals maybe a month or two ago, and I realized that a journal that I had last year, it's a small little journal from December 2021 to May of this past year. I can't find it anywhere. It has a little Victorian rose on it. It's just a small little paper journal.
Very small, right?
Yeah. And I'm just wondering is it lost? I can't find it anywhere. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let's see. Oh, and you have mountains around you?
Well, not right now. I live in a little city, but I do go back and forth to where I grew up.
Are you in a foothill? You're in a flat, but you don't have mountains behind you?
Not where I am right now, but I do. I mean, I've brought that journal back to the mountains.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's there. The first thing when I'm tuning in, I get mountains, then I get a foothills, flat land. I get a little market or little store and a bike. That makes sense. Or there's bicycles on the side of the store.
Okay.
I feel like you had it in transit, I feel, right?
Yeah.
Like a backpack or something. I feel like it's I feel you're going to find it, but I feel like if it's small, it fell out.
Yeah,
I see shirts crammed in. So it may have fallen out. I don't know if it's where you are now. I'm not picking that up.
Okay.
No, this is kind of a quick read. When's the last time you saw it?
I know that the last time I had it for sure was this past summer. But I can't say for sure.
And where were you?
I don't know if I think I probably brought it back home with me just to look
to
at
the mountains.
Back to the mountains, but
that's what I feel. I keep feeling the mountains. Is that your family home? It could be there.
Yeah. Okay.
It could be there.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Without me overthinking it, visually that's the first thing that I got was the mountains and stuff crammed in, a bunch of backpack, just stuff being crammed in there.
So you don't feel like it's lost or I threw it away or something?
I don't feel you threw it away, no.
Yeah, okay. Alrighty.
Now,
cool.
I think if it's your family, maybe they even put it aside for you or put it in a drawer. Or if you unpack. Now, did you look under the bed?
I did. I feel like I looked everywhere, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so
I don't know. I would say I definitely feel it's either packing or unpacking, and I saw mountains, and I saw different kinds of shirts and T-shirts being crammed in. Some kind of backpack or knapsack, something duffel bag backpack, something not a suitcase type thing. Probably more backpack, I feel. So whatever you had in there, it could even be if you use that for a day trip. It could even been with that. But all I get to is that you were rushing. You were rushing to leave, rushing to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will.
I bet you find it
up there. Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. I know. I'm just it's that feeling of oh my God, those are my thoughts and my lyrics and my and it's it was only it's 6 months.
Well, that's why I feel backpack. You might take it when you're writing or something, but I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it was crammed in. Maybe it was a sweater or something, but I feel it was crammed in with clothes.
Okay.
But if you want to have it, one thing that I do is I just really get comfortable and kind of relaxed, and I feel the thing, and I connect back into the cord, the energetic cord for me to that thing, and I just say, it doesn't want to be lost from me. It doesn't want me to lose it. It doesn't want to lose me, And then because that cord, I don't know if you heard me share this story that happened. I was actually up in the mountains, and I was using a friend of mine's SUV, which I ended up now taking over, but she was coming back into town, and I said, I just want to top up the gas. Even though there was enough gas, I thought, I want to top it up more. And I did something. I had her little dogs. You probably have seen them in my pick-a-card readings, little Monkey and Dorje, and I put them in the car. And I never do that. I can tell you I did this one time, maybe when I was 16, 17 years old. I've never done it since. I put my keys, which are attached to a little, little change purse. I put it on top of the car, on top of the SUV, went winding down the mountain, go to get gas, and the dog alerted me. Dorje's staring weird at my purse. And I looked at it and I went, oh my God, the keys are not in there, are they, Dorje? Because these cars, if I would have shut the door with no keys, I wouldn't have been able to get back in.
Right.
So I drove all the way back up the mountain, all the mountain, 20, 25 minutes, drove all the way back, looked for the keys, looked down ravines, and then I just stopped. I pulled over and I relaxed and I said, this is not my energy, which it wasn't. It was somebody else's energy coming in. And I said, it does not want to be gone from me. Because I've had this little pochette, it's called a Louis Vuitton pochette, it's a little change purse and keys. It has just my credit cards and enough cash and my keys. That's all I need. So, and I go back down the mountain, slow, and I see halfway down, before I get to PCH, I see the red, because it's red, to the side of the road. It hadn't even been smashed.
Wow. That feeling.
It's a two-lane mountain road. So I knew if I drove all the way down to the to the bottom of the mountain, I'd never find where they were again, right?
Right.
So I drive slowly. No one's coming on the, it's only 2 lanes. I do a quick U-E. I pull off to like a little inlet, where you let people pass. And then I walk, and people are beeping at me. They're thinking, who's this crazy person walking? And I'm like, I didn't care. I was like, you don't know what I've been through.
Exactly.
I got the keys. I went and got the keys, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. And it was like, but yeah. So I do feel you'll find it. I do feel you will.
Okay.
Because it doesn't want to be separate from you.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I was like, I can't imagine that I would have lost it, or So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I find it.
Okay. Cool, Owen. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Hello. Ciao, Michelle. It's Zoe.
Hey, ciao, Zoe.
Hi. Okay. Nice to hear your voice. So, I'm coming to you today because I'm... Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. No, are you still at your place?
So I'm still at my place. What has happened is, so today or yesterday, whatever, is a silent day. I went up to Ubud to do the Balinese ceremony, the traditional parade. It's like Balinese New Year, and then we follow it by a day of silence. Everything's turned off. There's no driving, no nothing. And anyway, so on my way home from Ubud last night, I was involved in a hit and run. I think I was, by my injuries, like I have pretty severe blunt force head trauma, my whole right side of my, I got hit. They couldn't find the helmet. The bike was really far from the road. They found me on the side of the road, and I'm just wondering, is this just a series of bad luck? Is this the island? Am I missing something? Or, is, I don't know. I just
it could even be astrological. I mean, just because negative things happen or something, there are accidents. Some things happen. Sometimes, it is a wake-up call, or it is pay attention in this area. And sometimes it could even be the person's astrology. You can look and see, what the transit is. Especially if something to the first house or sixth house, or with the Mars being activated.
In my astrology or somebody else's?
Yeah, personally. I mean, it could be in the general astrology, yes, but you want to look at the personal transits. If the if there's a transit to the sixth house, you want to take care. If Mars is there, accidents, or take care of the body, bones, health, start organizing. Things could get, busier if it's the first house, especially if Mars is there. So if there's depending on the transit to the first house, that can cause things like that. So I don't know. I'd have to look at your chart. But okay, so you're still there. I feel this is all for you. It's a lot about focusing on grounding. What are those next steps that you want to do, right?
Right. It's. I mean, they were telling me last week, I need to be in the receptive mode, I need to be more in the receiving mode, and that I needed to slow down, and I was doing too much for myself, and I needed to accept the help from others. So I'm like, is this just a force? Because it's now I can't walk.
Now you have to accept the help. There's receptive mode. Then that's a good point. Yeah.
So it's
there
a force. So I'm like, is this my lesson? Is there something else that I'm missing, or what? And
you just said it. Maybe if it is about being more open, right, or receptive to being helped and having healing, there we go.
Yeah, because I have people literally have to physically help me now. I mean, they don't have to.
Okay, so that's forcing you to be receptive. There we go. Yeah, we go.
Yeah.
So not having to do it all your own, not push things. Yeah.
And then I wanted to know if you see anything. So because it was silent days, no traveling and all this, and I had a handful of people trying to fight to get me a ride because you're allowed to go to medical to get all the tests.
Right.
Because where I went to the hospital, all they could do is triage. So then they brought me, the police brought me all the way back down to Uluwatu. so to my house, so I could go to, so my local authority could take me to the hospital today. Well, nobody could help me today. Nobody would help me today, and people were from everywhere trying to get, because I want to have these scans. I really suffered some pretty intense head injuries. So I want to know if you see anything. I don't feel like I'm going to die from what happened, but I want to know, like, I'm having some pretty intense internal pain and head pain. I want to know if you see anything.
Well, yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
No, I feel bruising. So yeah, you've got probably some internal bruising, just as a sneak peek that I'm doing. So definitely, this is so taking care of you, taking care of your body, right?
Yeah.
Opening to receive. So sometimes, again, it's not. I think I was telling one of the other callers, that it's not necessarily that we're doing something bad or wrong, but we need to do more of it, or this is a way of us being helped to do more of it, right? And accidents,
yeah,
in this culture, in our earth plane, accidents and getting sick are definitely a lot of times course corrections and ways of receiving, opening up to receive more and getting,
Yeah.
And so now you just make it more in your conscious effort that that for you to receive, that you're now in that phase of receiving more and getting more help. And it may be slowing you down from doing the move, too, right? It's slowing you down, like saying, just figure this out where you are now. And, that's part of the grounding.
I guess, yeah. I just, for right now, I'm like, all I can feel like is a series of bad luck. When they came and fixed the power, that they didn't ground it right. It zapped out my U.S. phone, my U.S. SIM, my computer, my tablet, my everything, my TV, everything. So I now I'm super stuck, so I cannot physically even get onto Facebook, talk to people if they don't call me on the messaging app.
Right.
So I'm like, what does this, am I missing? Have I missed something? Like along the way?
Well, maybe I don't know. That's a longer question, and I've got all the, to really tune in and see. But again, I've the grounding, the opening to receive. Sometimes we do go through bad patch. I had one time I was coming out of Whole Foods backing out, and somebody rammed into me. They were clearly in the wrong. We had witnesses that said they were in the wrong. I'll test, I'll do this. So I call my insurance. They go, insurance. And then my insurance says, it's going to be 50-50, and you have to pay. And I'm like, what? Well, all of the witnesses were good except one guy, which I kind of had a suspicion. I should not have taken his name. He wiggled. He's like, well, maybe I didn't see it as clearly. And my insurance company's like, well, that's why it's called an accident. I go, but I was already out of the parking space, and she rammed into me. What could I do? It's like, okay, take one for the team. There was nothing I could do. And it wasn't I did anything wrong. It's just every now and then we go through bad patches. We go through upswings, and we go through times where it's just, I know people hate to hear this, but because otherwise the whole world would be egocentric. Not everything is a projection. Sometimes it's perception. Sometimes just we go through a bad time, a bad patch of things. It's what we do with it. What awareness does it bring up? And I think that's where you're at, Zoe. What awareness, right? I need this kind of people, this kind of environment. I need this structure, stability.
Well, it's exactly who's
really going to be there for you.
Right. And this
exactly.
was a feeling I was feeling the day before. Like I felt like a little bit abandoned by people, and I definitely think it is healing something along those lines. But also, I'm just like, it's a bit overwhelming. Like,
listen, I had a really, really good friend, and when Yoshi died, and I for a year and a half, I was sometimes only sleeping an hour, 2 hours a night, and this person just couldn't be there. They were just wigged out. I mean, it was just an odd thing. They got all upset at me, and I'm like, oh my God. But I was like, okay. I was in shell shock. My dog just died of 16 years almost, and I got all these things I'm doing, in my life, and you're. I was just like, okay, this is like a shock, So.
You're like, you're basically self-filtration system, right? Like, that's what I feel like. It's like,
exactly,
you really need to know. But yeah, I'm fighting mentally, though, because I'm like, I can't believe somebody hit me that hard and left me to die on the side of the road. So it's a mental,
horrible.
It's a lot of getting out of a mental space of being like, but it's still hard because I'm like, someone literally
did that.
Like they found me like an hour later.
That says more about them than you, right?
Okay, so it's just
says more.
That's
yes.
I'm like, what am I missing? The perception? Am I perceiving it wrong? Like, because I'm like,
no,
what was
that says a lot about them.
Point of attraction that this needed to happen. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. That says a lot about that person and what they will live with. So get all the nurturing, all the care. Take this time just really to support yourself and keep us posted. Call back in and chat with us, okay?
Thank you
so
much. Ciao, ciao.
All right.
Big hug.
Ciao, ciao. Big hug. Okay, we got another. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. It's Angie.
Hi, Angie. Welcome.
Hi.
Question?
Yeah, I've been wanting to call in, but I'm always like, I don't know how to ask any question. Like, I just blank out, which I normally don't. But I figure I could go into more like what's relevant, the new moon in Aries. If there's any, messages from my guides or anything for this kind of period of time, I really want to take advantage of that fiery energy.
Yeah. And do you know where it's aspecting you in your chart?
Yeah, it's in my 7th house. I have no planets in it, but I'm a Libra, so I'm on the other side.
Oh, Libra rising. Okay.
No, I'm a Libra sun.
Oh, Libra sun. Oh, but the Aries, you have Aries
and
in your.
Aries is on the other side of the chart, but it's not, my sister sign.
What's your rising? But your rising should
Virgo.
be if you have Aries in the descendant. Oh, you're doing a different
I just meant it was on the other side of the wheel. Yeah, no.
Oh, but you don't know
I'm
what
Virgo
house?
Rising. I'm a Virgo rising in.
But yet you have Aries in the 7th house. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or on the
cusp. Look into. It's in the 7th, but let's see. I'll look at the actual list.
Well, this new moon,
Virgo ascendant, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I do Placidus, so whatever would be on this ascendant would be the opposite. Yes, it depends what house system you're using. So
got it.
Look for partnerships and put energy into, because the 7th house is coming above the horizon. So you may find yourself wanting to be more social, more activating energy of getting out of the house or doing things, or, like you called in today on this podcast, or meeting in groups or meeting with friends. That's the best way for you to anchor that energy, is to start looking above the horizon. Like, how can I reach out more or put more out there in the world or in my life? Even if it's just getting out, walking or driving or biking someplace, just get out more. And so that activation can bring some new people in your life, or a resurgence of people, potential partnerships, whether personal relationship, friend, or more on a perhaps business consulting or professional level. That it's definitely activating, getting above the horizon.
It looks like my descendant in Placidus is Pisces.
Oh, that's interesting. So
29
so
degrees.
You don't,
yeah.
How many degrees?
29.
Okay. So then that's going to put your Libra still in that's going to put your Libra in the 1st house then.
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about Aries. Okay, so that's, and you said, wait, in the 7th, it would show Pisces?
That's what
then that
says on the
definitely would,
list.
on the 7th, is what you're saying? And then they would
The
put Aries activating the 8th.
Yes. Where is Aries?
Yeah. So again, what I feel with you intuitively, and if I look at the astrology, it's about the other. It's about getting out. It's about externalizing more. And even like I was saying to Zoe, the caller before, it could be also opening up to more support or people being more supportive, activating relationships that are deeper, kindred spirits, kindred soulmates, not surface. You're not going to want to have like surface light chit-chatty. You're going to want to have, even if you're out and about or socializing, you're going to want to have more of a deeper connection with the people that you're connecting with.
Right.
All right, Angie. Thanks for calling in.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we're waiting for our guest. Let me see. Got one more caller. Time for one more call. Hi, you're on air.
Hey, thank you for my call. My name is Tim, calling from New York. How are you doing today?
Who am I talking to?
Yep, I'm sorry. My name is Tim, calling from New York.
Okay, Tim, what's your question?
Sure. My question is, I'm working on bringing some abundance in, some new things, like a job or just multiple things. I was listening to what you were saying about doing different things. I'm currently working from home, so I'm trying to get out the house a little bit during the day and
good.
Setting intentions, try to set intentions, asking my guides for assistance before I go to sleep, and hoping for some messages. Any tips or words of wisdom from you?
Let's see, what does Tim need to focus on? Well, you definitely are coming into an activation period, and it's saying look at community, look at groups to network in, and also to have patience, that you're building something new. You're either bridging from the old into the new, but there's this idea of both, I would say, bridging and building kind of happening at the same time. So make sure you're putting structure into what you want to do, have a bit of patience, but also get out or network online, let people know what you're doing. Get with other people. Okay. So right now the biggest resource for you is going to be other people, people in your social network or social networks, I could say, or even putting stuff on social networking sites also. LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's a way to start reaching people. Okay. Thanks for calling in, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you. Great to connect. Yeah. All right, everyone. Hang on. We got a great guest coming on. If you didn't get your question answered or you had something you wanted to share that you weren't able to in this time frame, call in next week. We'll be here again 12 p.m. Pacific time. So we have with us today Ash Johns, who's a psycho-spiritual life coach and ancestral healer, and also the founder of Ancestral Healing Space. If you want to take a quick peek, you can go to ashleyjohns.com and check out the website. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, it's beautiful to be here.
Oh, thank you. Okay, do you prefer Ash or Ashley?
Ash is great.
Ash, okay, cool.
But the website is Ashley, no problem.
Ashley Johns, yeah. And let's just say it's because sometimes people it's already on the description box for this episode. But let's those that are listening, it's ASHLEY Johns JOHNS.com. So, Ashley, tell us a bit about yourself. I'm kind of intrigued because you left this career in advertising and branding to start this retreat center. So I want to talk about that, which is the Ancestral Healing Space, and then also get into the healing of ancestral patterns. That really kind of piqued my interest, and I know a lot of people have been focusing on that. So it's kind of great timing. A lot of people are doing this kind of work, asking these kind of questions and wanting to know more about that. So if you can school us a bit more, I would love it.
Absolutely. So it's really funny that you open that way, because any person who is passionate about what they do and they've been doing it a long time, I think all of us masters or those who are lifelong students tend to get a little cringy when we're like, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about ancestors.
Yes.
And ancestry.
Yes.
And it does feel like it's blowing up. But I've been doing this my entire life and professionally for nearly 10 years now. And, it's beautiful that so many people from across all different backgrounds, ethnicities, nationalities, race, gender, sexuality, all the things that we are all being called back to, exploring our roots and where we belong, and even looking at some of the things that's been lost over centuries and decades as we've moved across this planet and reincarnated in different ways, but also some of the patterns that we repeat, even though as children or teenagers or young adults we said we wouldn't. And so that's what ancestral healing is for me and in my practice. I teach spiritually called, sensitive people who are change makers, people who are passionate entrepreneurs to see I like to call them unconscious blocks that are not just yours, they belong to your ancestors. And they're things that we've done to survive and to, continue moving across this planet, but it's no longer serving us. So it's a journey of learning how to work with your ancestors, asking them to heal what they didn't do in their human life that is still playing a part in your own life.
I totally get it about the cringy, but it is it's part of that awakening, where people get it, and then it's interesting. I saw this kind of starting around 2011, where a lot of stuff, and I get it because I would say the same thing. Oh, I've been doing this for so many years. I'm trained in, and these people that just studied it, are now coming on to it. What I am finding, and I don't know if you're finding this, because I was a little worried. I thought, oh my God, we're just going to have people that are doing things surfacely, and it's for one, it's not going to work. But I do see a trend now where people are really wanting to do the deeper work and actually work with people that have either the training and or life experience, not just a year, 2 years, or 3 years, or even a weekend course in something or 6 months in something. So I don't know if you're seeing that, but I definitely do see that kind of turnaround where people are kind of, it's like with anything. I'd rather go to the dentist or doctor that's been doing it for a while.
Exactly.
It's like,
I'm
you're
both.
Operating, right?
Yeah.
I'm open to both, but certain things I want someone with, a little more training or expertise.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, are you working, so the individual ancestral patterning, cultural, and does that cross over also for you with societal?
Yeah, essentially,
or how does
everything we're experiencing in society has been created by ancestors, and we are also creating on top of that. So it's really a journey of getting into the root of whatever's happening in society or whatever's happening in your life or whatever's happening in your relationships, because as you know, I know that you're very well versed in all of this work, that a lot of times we're operating only on the original, like our own playing field, what our own mindset or what we think we inherited in childhood. But if we really want to get down to the core of things, this is energies and patternings that's even deeper and beyond us. That's on this planet, it's in society, it's in collective conscious. So when we're working with the ancestors as well as working on ourselves and in community, we have an opportunity to dissolve what no longer serves and also create or invoke and remember things that do. And to your point or to your question, to go back and answer that, I'm seeing a little bit of both. Those who have platforms like you and have an audience like you, I get a deep sense that people are looking for answers and want to get into the deep work and are curious of, they've worked on themselves, they've healed, they've grown, they've created amazing things in their lives, and we don't discredit that at all. There's so many amazing methodologies. And then we do have this, social media craze, people who are millennials and younger and else who it's about consumption. It's like quick, fast, and tell me an answer. And so I always lead with the work that I do and that I invite people to, and we cross paths because it's the right timing to explore this, is because you do want to understand this on a slow burn. You are looking at the things that, someone would say, oh, that's just a fear mechanism, or, oh, that's just my inner child this, or, oh, that's just my trauma response. And it's like, well, we can choose to have amazing tools and methodologies to help you cope with that fear or with that trauma response or with that rationale, understanding the circumstances of where it came from, or we can start working with the highest part of yourself and the ancestors that first invited that particular coping mechanism to survive and to protect in your energy field. Let's call them up and let them know it's no longer needed. Let's allow you to become in relationship with your ancestors for your highest good, for the reason you've been called to this world and in your lineage for a reason. So a lot of times I tend to work with people who've always felt that they were the one in their family here to break a generational pattern. That's more than just breaking the pattern of alcoholism or having the multi-six-figure business or becoming a millionaire or having not divorcing. It's who you become and who you get to be for the first time in your life and maybe the first time in your lineage for a long time. That's the work that we do here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because, as you know, psychologically, it's that generational transmission. It is transmitted, you know, and there's even cellular and energetic memory on this. It's even, you could say, passed on through osmosis, through a look, through a feeling, through the energy, right? The energy of what those family members felt about a certain something. And we pick up on that, right? We pick up on that.
We pick up on it. We carry it. It's our default operating system. And let's not forget that ancestors, just like great guides and angels and Jesus and any other ascended master, not that all ancestors are ascended masters, that's not what I mean, but consciousness continues. And so when those ancestors have crossed over or, you know, you're thinking of your grandmother in this positive way, and that could be true. I'm sure she deeply loved you. But if you're doing ancestor work and you're communicating with an ancestor, you're connecting with an ancestor who has that same reoccurring imprint or pattern or belief or energetic stagnation, it's going to keep manifesting in different ways, but in your life and in your offspring and in the people that you nurture into adulthood and into their humanhood. So this is what we mean about contacting and working with the ancestors as other sovereign beings, but who affect you and who are interested in your well-being and just haven't ever had someone yet because you're the called one. You're the one who's saying, actually, I want to get to the root of this. Actually, I'm courageous to look. Actually, I feel that I desire to have a different experience in my life, and I want to get down to the root of it. Yeah.
And let's touch on, because sometimes, I know I've seen in some of the work that I do, that is the way that people tap in. So sometimes they have to find a new way, right, of having that, right? That connection. That really, I know in my own personal work, kind of shocked me and then made sense, and then seeing it in other people, sometimes subconsciously, sometimes very consciously, like this is how we connect. This is our way.
Yeah. I was a long, long time ago, all of us across this great planet had ways of accessing, and we still do, right? But I know that all of us, in some way, shape, or form, had a way of honoring, and there was rites of passage, and there were different things that we did that the dead or when they crossed over could give us wisdom and support us. And we've lost that for all the reasons, right? And so it is one methodology that I'm interested in really carrying across the world and helping us to remember, because I've had clients many times that were like, oh my God, I've been working on this one thing, and because I approached it in this way, I now understand it. I now have compassion for my mother. I'm no longer triggered in this way. I mother differently. I treat my business differently because there was mothering weird energy in their business and mothering or whatever it might be. But I have a great mentor of mine who said all of these are different energetic vortices. They're different energetic concepts that help us get back to what's true, and that is your soul's calling, your greatest desires, and love, right? And so I just find that over the years of being in many different modalities, and living across the world, that doesn't matter who we are, every one of us, or many people, tend to have resistance to looking at their family unless they really need to and they're in family therapy or family constellation or doing inner child or reparenting work. but it's always like, I'm going to move forward. I don't, I can be my own person without my family, or always are getting very triggered by their family or even ashamed of their ancestors and where they come from. But where we come from is also part of who we are. So until we address that, we really aren't getting as far and becoming the people that we think that we are, because there's a whole shadow of ourselves that we're turning away from. So I love that I hold this position of inspiring and guiding and supporting people to fully integrate and elevate their lineages through their life and for the legacy that you want to live and leave on this planet, so that we're not shying away from where we come from, but truly are proud of that, and we've alchemized whatever needs to be alchemized from our history.
Mm-hmm. Ash, what brought you to this? What was your kind of wake-up call, your first one, your awakening? How'd you get beeped onto this path?
Oh, goodness. Well, there's been many, as I know you know. I love how you ask that question. But the one that comes to mind, I remember being 8 years old, and two things happened within that time frame, 8, 9 years old. One, I saw a reoccurring pattern, an argument between my mother and my stepfather, right? And it was around money, and it was around provision, and it was around stability. And I was like, gosh, this is interesting that this keeps happening. I want to remember this so I don't repeat this pattern as an adult. In my money, in my relationship to a man, in my relationship to being a woman, like all of these different variables. And I'm an 80s baby. I'll let you guys know that. So I kept all my notes in a Lisa Frank journal about my life. I wasn't writing about boys or my Christmas gift. I was looking at my family dynamic. And,
wow.
Yeah, in that same year, I had a great uncle, my grandfather's or my grandmother's brother, who passed away, but I saw him before he passed in person. And when I left, I had a dream of my ancestors coming through and telling me information that he was going to pass. And I never forgot that. And I ended up telling my mother, this is the thing that I see that he's upset about. This is what's going to happen, Mom. I had this dream, and this is what I heard the voices telling me. And I've always had this gift of mediumship, even though I do not operate or work as a medium at all. But it was the beginning of ancestors coming through saying, this is not his problem. This is a reoccurring pattern in our whole lineage of this type of illness, this type of way of dying, of this type of unhappiness. And I was just like, that's interesting. And then the third moment that I really stepped into the work and honored what was truly coming together was while working in Bali at my women's retreat. I'd have these women from all over the world come and visit me. And I remember doing like some energy sessions with them and just like some, light coaching, guiding inspiration. Let's sit down. Let's come into your heart, And as we were in a session with a woman, she had an ancestor come through, and she starts speaking to the ancestor herself. I don't have to interpret, and I still work this way. I don't interpret. And the ancestor was saying, the women keep having miscarriages in your family for this reason. This is the reason. And the woman had never told me, that she was having issues with conception things. And when we finished the session, she lifted her shirt up and showed me all the tattoos. It was like 8 or 9 little beautiful cherry blossoms of the children who transitioned over, and how the ancestor gave her the medicine to break that pattern in her lineage, and she was the one who was called and agreed to in her incarnation and her conception to do that work. And that's when I was like, oh my goodness, like we're doing, this is the time when like NLP and like everyone was doing breath. It was just coming on the scene, and I was like, gosh, I love this personal development work we're doing, but we're trying to do work that is beyond us. It's bigger than us, and that's why it's so hard and so heavy. And I started working with clients and saying, wow, when they call their ancestors in and they do this healing together and they do the medicine that's unique to you, your situation, and your lineage, the ease and the love and the acceptance, like, it's just so much easier. It's you're doing a work as a family, and that just blew my mind. And I was like, all right, I can't hide this anymore. This is what it is. Because I was like saying it was different things. I'm like, oh, we'll just do some energy and see if you get any messages. I was kind of keeping it light because I was afraid.
Right.
Yeah, I had to own what this work actually is. So just 3 little moments of my awakening, and have to trust what I'm called to do. Yeah.
And what helped you trust it? And after trusting, what was the next step when you kind of finally said, okay, I'm going to trust myself? Yeah.
That was the easy part. I had already had people coming to me. So I'm a bit of a bright one, so I would constantly have people coming to me asking questions and being like, wow, I feel like you really delivered that. You really got that message right on, Ash. And I was like, all right, well, so that was actually the follow through and the evolution of the business happened easily, especially because I have a background in marketing and advertising and branding, and had a passion for taking what I did as a career in New York and in LA and Chicago and helping entrepreneurs. Like when I left my advertising career, that's the first thing that I did. And then I started seeing different entrepreneurs' patterns and how they were blocking their growth and sabotaging their relationship with their employees, and how they would be successful in business but terrible in their relationships, or how they were so in control and it made them successful but it made them very harsh and closed off to receiving love. And it just evolved from there. There was no major strategy. It's just alignment to my calling. Yeah.
I love that, alignment to the calling. It's so interesting, too, because I feel like when we do connect into our, not just our own ancestral lineage, or if you want to use a psychological term, generational transmission, the culture, the society, all of that. In fact, I talked about this the other day on my podcast, that, we are these archetypal images, that we have these archetypal stamps, as humans, as a societal level, from civilizations before. And unless those are looked at and worked through in some kind of processing, usually something subconscious or working with the energetics of that particular patterning, it's so strong. And because it's reinforced for, hundreds of thousands of years, these templates, if you will, right?
Right. So that's basically the truth. So we can look at this, again, so many different concepts. We can look at polarity concepts. We can look at, New Age and Placidius and other, worldly things. There's so many different concepts of our experience on this planet. But as it relates to generational transmissions and generational patterns and working with the ancestors directly, what makes it not heavy, because it's true. I think it's so interesting. I was on another podcast and they said, I bet your clients are really overwhelmed in this work. And I was like, actually not at all. They're so surprised of how graceful it is and how much compassion and love and ease and how quickly things shift in their life, because you're essentially, instead of moving one couch on your own, you're calling everyone in the neighborhood to lift it all together. And that's the experience. Right. You're forced the ancestors to say, this archetypal behavior, this survival pattern, this sub-personality that we've developed and we've celebrated it, this resilience pattern or this smart woman pattern or this I'm a provider and a protector and all these different archetypal behaviors, is it actually serving us for my calling and where we want the lineage to go moving forward, number one? And two, it's not just about me. And I know we've seen this even from a genetic and purely biological scientific perspective, that you can heal something and repattern something in your physical body and energetic field, but if it doesn't carry through in your lineage, it can skip you and go straight to your children or your children's children. Personally, exactly. I healed myself of being asthmatic. Everyone else in my family had been asthmatic. I'm pretty sure my children will not be asthmatic, right? Because I've been working on this in my own body and also in our energy field. So this is the reason why I love the work so much, because things that psychologically you just couldn't get over, particularly patterns of abuse or harm or abandonment, when you actually look at the whole picture with your ancestors, you can forgive, you can accept, you can release yourself, and your ancestors are doing their part in what was not healed and has been transmuting down the lineage through you. They have to do their work. You don't do it. Yeah.
Right. Well, and the thing is if you're doing the ancestral work, it does change the societal. That's what I was getting at. It does change. In fact, that's the only way. You can't change it's like the individual changes, which changes the person next to them, the family, the group, on and on. So using the individual to get in as a kind of a portal into the ancestral pattern clearing or reimagining, reconfiguration, recalibration. I mean, there's so many techniques that go into that. right? But to me, that's what excites me. That so it is. That's how our society will transform.
I believe it. I truly do.
Yeah.
I've had clients came in and they were estranged from family members, weren't talking to family members. Family members don't even believe in this work, and they didn't need to tell them, you know. And then within our time of working together, they're getting quote unquote random messages and calls to reconcile, apologizing, having a change of heart. And they were just so tickled and so shocked. They're like, I'm not doing any other work, so I can only attach this to this work. And I was like, that's so generous of you. I'm sure you put other work before this, but I do know it has a ripple effect in our families and our lives and collectively in society and in our cultures. Absolutely.
Yeah. Love that ripple effect. So now, Ash, what were you before this? What were you doing, and does that carry over to what? Because I know, I also, when I was reading it, that did show that you also do work with businesses or individuals with their business, because you came from an advertising background. Do you? Is that woven in?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's so many different ways in. I have to admit that I'm truly a guide. I'm less of a coach, even though I have all my credentials. And I say that because it's always choose your own adventure, you know. I'm never cookie cuttering like, okay, now we're going to work on your business. But sometimes clients come to me saying they never feel like they're at home, you know, or they have plateaued in their revenue for the year, and they just keep repeating that same revenue plateau no matter how many business coaches and what they do. It just seems whatever, you know. Or they've lost their way and they're uninspired in their businesses. And so because of my background and what I know, having worked with so many people, is oftentimes we lose our way on our path because we've just gotten swept away in the waves, you know. We're like, oh, this is what sells, or this is what's expected to me, or this is what the trends are. You know, and so a lot of times when we're doing some ancestral healing work, the ancestors will reveal what truly is I call it the ancestral gift or the ancestral blessing that person needs to reclaim. And a lot of times when they do that, coupled with their own soul's calling and talents that they loved coming into this world as a child, that is their moneymaker, you know. Their pattern with generational wealth is rooted in this ancestral wound, but it's also connected to departing what ancestral gifts you guys are called to offer the world. And so being able to reclaim those gifts and start to embody them and do that in a modern way, even though you're working with ancient wisdom and knowing, usually clears up people's money issues. And so, you know, when I first got into the work, I was attracting a lot of people who were interested in business. But as we got into clarifying their message or getting clear on their offers or revamping their portfolio or their pipeline or their products, it would be a deeper personal pattern, a limiting belief, but also an ancestral imprint that was protecting them, but was stopping them from really showing up in the work that they're really called to do. And so we had to get into the personal work and then into the ancestral work before we came back into rebuilding the business. So because I've witnessed that pattern so many times, I've just let ancestral healing be the main door. You know, people will always tell me when they first do their consultation, like, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I desire to change. This is what the pattern I think it is and what I want to feel and see differently in my life and has an impact on my family. And I'm like, okay, I have an interest that it's going to be some business stuff down the line or some relationship stuff or some sensuality stuff or some mothering and parenting stuff. Like, that's great. But we still get into the lineage work first and then bring it forward into your day life.
Okay. So we do have a question. And by the way, callers, the last few minutes, if you have a question, you can press 1 on your keypad that's relevant to what we're talking about now. And we have a question in the chat from Joy Fun Happiness. How do we separate picking up ancestors' energy or loyalty to their beliefs? Good question.
Oh, I love that question. Incredible question. Thank you. Yeah. So I will give a caveat, a couple ways I'll answer this. But the first caveat is I tend to not work or train newbies. And what do I mean by that? That's not to be disrespectful or condescending. It's that the people who are ready for this work, and again, it's not hard, but it's nuanced to it. You already have to be connected to your You already have to be interested in being guided back into your body. You already have to be aware of what it feels like when you're meditating with yourself, what your intuition says, what your gut instincts. Like, you need those skills. You have to have already come into yourself first, right? And if you haven't, I spend a good beginning of our time working together teaching that to you and helping you feel that, because you do need to have self-sense. My hope at the end of anyone doing ancestral healing work is that you trust yourself to continue this work on your own, because it truly is a lifestyle. It truly is a calling. If you're called to this work, you're the one who said you would pick up the baton and do this, and also step into this role of being the pattern breaker, of being the face of your lineage in a new way. And so that's number one. Like, you know, do your somatic therapy work, keep going to regular therapy, do your energy clearings, look at your astrology. Do you know yourself enough to be like, okay, I'm going to hold my own when I go into this work? And a good test of that is also how you hold your own energy in your own persona when you're around your living family. You know, if you disagree, can you be amicable? Have you practiced that? Not that we're perfect, but have you practiced that? Are you aware of your difference and you're okay with that in your family, and you want to step deeper in that world, because that's a good indicator. And then the third thing I'll say about this is our first few sessions, or even if we're doing this work in my group, which is called Ancestral Healing Space Membership, it's a membership group. When we come together, the first few sessions when you're being guided and I'm working with you and teaching, it really is helping you to differentiate your energy body with your ancestors. And sometimes, this is actually a little exercise I'll share with y'all right now to do, when you're experiencing something in your life and you see it as a pattern or a block, quote unquote, ask yourself, how much of this is mine and how much is it ancestral and how much is it collective? It's a very, very simple exercise. But if you tune into yourself, tune into the fear or the shame or the guilt or the pain body you're experiencing, if you really just drop in and ask yourself, how much of this is my responsibility? How much is it me just picking up on the collective, and how much of it is actually ancestral, and I need to give it back to them to deal with it? You'll get a good answer. And so that's the work that we're doing and learning in the very beginning of this work, so you can hold your ground as you work with ancestors. I guide and teach you how to select the best ancestral guides to work with, so you know who's a good guide and who's a guide who's just like, oh my God, hi, I want to talk to you. I'm so glad you're here. Like, oh, this is wonderful, you know, because they can be that way. And yeah, how to actually transmute what needs to be transmuted in your lineage and in your energy field.
Thank you for that. Joy, fun, happiness. Thank you. Thank you for that too, Ash. Let's see if we have any other. I like that. The loyal. And I do agree with you. It's about doing, quote unquote, all of it. You find the right mix for you. I believe try a lot of different things, and then you find your repertoire. Because one time one thing really works, one time not so much, or you need to do something in conjunction with, or we have those tools that we know, oh, I'm going through this patch, or this keeps coming up. Maybe I should get a session in this, or maybe I should read this or listen to this. You know, I think people that have been on the path for a while kind of know that, you know, and don't take it like, oh, something's wrong with me or I'm less conscious. They just know that this is part of being conscious on a path.
Absolutely. It's I always refer to this as I love that you said that, Michelle. I think of this as like the toolbox, you know, like there's so many different Allen wrenches.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. I love that. Yes, Ash. Exactly. You don't just have one Allen. Yeah. So if people could get that, because I think sometimes what stops a lot of people is like, oh, well, I already did that, or that shouldn't be bothering me anymore, or I looked at, you know, and it's like, well, it's coming up. So it's just, you know, not always a reflection on us. It's like, well, a different tool is needed, or go back to that same tool and retighten up here, loosen here.
Yeah, and what I love about that too is, you know, we're on an evolutionary journey here, and so it's spiralic in nature, and I think we all know that. And so we're elevating, and we're being confronted with things in a totally different way, in a totally different direction. It could be just a new growth, you know, that you get to approach in another way. And so Yeah, there's never,
Yeah.
I'm all for the opportunity for us to accept and release, accept what we're experiencing, and there's nothing wrong with it, and I get to change my experience again and again. And I know that sounds exhausting, but that's truly the beauty of the human experience, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think once people embrace that, it's like, I always tell people, do you just brush your teeth once and never, or you don't shower anymore, or you don't get a massage, or you don't put oil in the car, you don't, it's like we're the same way. There's this, so embrace it and love it.
Yeah.
So Ash, just let us know what's going on, best way people can connect with you if they want more information. And I love what you've shared today. It's been really insightful.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. So yeah, I totally invite, and I'm open to receive invitations to connect. You can email my team directly if you have any specific questions at info@ashleyjohns.com, ASHLEYJOHNS.com. Feel free to visit our website, and we have an incredible welcome sequence when you get on my email list, and there's a bunch of freebies all over the website. So just get anything for free, and you'll get the welcome sequence. But it teaches you the first things you need to know about ancestral healing. So if that interests you, it's the perfect little free teaching on getting you into the work. And then starting April 1st, we do have open doors for Ancestral Healing Space membership. And so that's where you get to come together in a small group where I teach, I guide, you can ask all the questions, and you connect with your ancestors yourself. And it's a very accessible, communal, fun, inspirational, just real space to hang out. And I'm really, really proud to offer it. So if you're interested in that, please be in touch. We'd love to have you.
Very cool. And, of course, those of you that are listening, there's always the this info in the description box for the episode. All right, Ash, thanks for being here. Come back anytime, and I really have loved this conversation with you.
Thank you, Michelle. Many blessings to you, and may everyone have a courageous and compassion-filled day. Have a great one.
Beautiful. Many blessings. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, what a nice connection there and conversation. Ash Johns we were talking to at ashleyjohns.com. Like I said earlier, all the deets are in the description box of the episode and below, so you can find out more information. All right, everyone. It's really great to connect with all of you. Thank all of you that co-created this episode and that showed up in the chat, online, on the phone. If you are new, we'll be here next Wednesday again. You can find out, again, more information in the episode description. As always, continue to shine your light, share your insight, and, of course, keep awake.
Awakenings broadcast every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.